Mr. Goody Grammar. I cannot thank you enough for dropping by General Grammar and spending your Wednesday with me. And you might be asking yourself, oh, Mr. Goody Grammar, what's he going to do tonight? Well, I have the answer for you. Grammar Goodies, tonight we're talking all about the period. Boom! That punctuation mark that is essential when it comes to learning English grammar. What is the period? This circle right here. And we're going to get into it tonight. So buckle up, grab Little Pup Tapioca, and maybe some Gushers, because it's going to be a Whoa Wednesday. But before we begin, let's go ahead and look at an overview of our evening. Of course, we're going to start with a basket breaker, followed up by discussing all about periods. And then we're going to have to check out, which is whoa! And I'll send you on your way. Speaking of that, whether you're watching right now on Facebook Live or a little later on YouTube, make sure to participate in the comments section. And if you're feeling extra spicy and generous, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Whoa! Without further ado, I think it's time that we go ahead and jump into a basket breaker.
Uh-oh.
For this week's basket breaker, the question is, do you drive? If yes, how would you describe your driving style? If no, how would you describe other drivers on the road? So if you drive, please let me know what your driving style's like. And if you don't drive just yet, whoa, no need to worry. I want to know your opinion about other drivers on the road. Are they crazy? Are they safe? Are they what? Maybe your parents are horrendous drivers. Who knows? But go ahead and answer that in the comments section. What do you think? Use some vivid imagery to describe this. And while you think about that, I'll go ahead and tell you my answer. Yeah, I drive. And I would say that I'm a very safe driver. Because it's not Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. I'm not, whoa, Tokyo drifting off of everything, right? So, that is my answer. I'm a safe driver. What about you? But, Mr. Goody Grammar, why did you ask this question? I'll go ahead and get to that in just a second. Because first, we have to go ahead and drink up some radioactive waste. Delicious.
3, 2, 1.
As I've already told you, tonight we're going to talk all about periods. The punctuation mark that ends things. So let me go ahead and give you a more defined and descriptive type of definition for a period. We see it all the time, but what is it? Let me go ahead and tell you. A period in America is a full stop. Whenever you see that period, it's like stopping the sentence. It is a punctuation mark at the end of a sentence. It's where you stop that idea. It shows that the sentence has finished. It's done. Done. And just keep in mind, to be a sentence, it has to be at least one complete clause, one independent clause, with a verb and a subject. Again, if we look at this list, these definitions of a period, it says very much that periods finish thoughts. It's that stop. And that's exactly why I asked you about driving styles. When you're driving, you have a green light, a yellow light, and a red light. Think of the period like the red light. You see it and you have to, boom, stop. And that's what it is. Okay, you're asking as well, how can periods be used? Whoa. Well, they can be used to end a sentence, at least one independent clause, and they also end declarative and sometimes imperative sentences. You could use periods in various ways with other punctuation marks, as you'll see tonight. But at its foundation, a period stops something. It says the idea has, boom, finished. I feel like a mob boss. Baby Giovanni, it's done. Okay. So, the first thing that I want to talk about tonight is periods and ending sentences. This is the most basic form in which we can use a period. As we know, the period is an indication that, boom, the thought has come to an end. Oh. And let's see how it's used. So we put the period at the end of a complete sentence. Denise confronted the liger, and she quickly domesticated it. Whoa, Denise, you should work for a circus, taming ligers? Lions and tigers together? You'll see that this is a complete thought, a complete sentence, and it's just a statement. It's a declarative sentence, stating, guess what? This is what happened to Denise. And it ends with a period, to show that this idea, this sentence about Denise is done. Pretty cool, right? And easy. Let's look at another example. As the dungeon master, Daniel exerted his personal frustration on the campaign group because it would not stop talking. Don't hurt us. This is our 17,000 times playing Dungeons and Dragons. We don't know what we're doing. But you know what knows what it's doing? Boop! That period. It's stopping this complete idea that Daniel, the dungeon master, is exerting his frustration on the campaign group due to the fact that it kept talking. Therefore, this period here ends that complete thought and makes it a complete sentence. Woo! Let's go ahead and go to this. I equipped the dark magician with various spell cards. Dark magic blast! Okay, with this is just a statement. This is a declarative sentence. One complete idea that just states something here. I equipped the dark magician with various spell cards. Statement, and it ends with a period. To say, yo, guess what? This idea is done. Okay. That's pretty straightforward. I know that you have used a period a million times in your writing. It's that stop to indicate for the reader, yo, this idea is done. It's very, very important. Keep in mind, if you are a writer that, whoa, puts too many clauses together, that you just put commas everywhere, and this period is almost nowhere to be seen for lines upon lines, you need to ask yourself, when is this idea done? When is it a complete idea and I can put a period here to break up your ideas? Just keep that in mind. Keep it in mind, especially as you do our first practice of the evening. Here's what I want you to do. in the comments section, whether you're with me right now on Facebook Live or later on YouTube, go ahead and write an original sentence that ends in a, guess what? A period. So you can make a declarative sentence, an imperative sentence, but just make sure that it ends with a period. It sounds basic, but guess what? You need to practice. And some people do forget to put the periods in their writing. I like to think of 16th century literature from, the settlers, the pilgrims, everything. Their sentences went on forever. So, make sure to utilize a period effectively. So put an original sentence that ends with a period into the comments section. And keep in mind as well that if it's funny and grammatically accurate, I'll give you a shout out in an upcoming episode. While you do that, I think it's time we run on over to the next thing we're going to talk about. We're going to talk all about parentheses and periods now. Parentheses and periods? We know what a period is, but what are parentheses? Let's break it down. Parentheses, which you usually see in math, to enclose something, is always used in pairs. So these are parentheses right here. It's this punctuation mark that you usually see in math. However, we're adding it into our writing. What parentheses do in writing is that they allow a writer to provide additional information. And we've talked about this tons of times on our Whoa Wednesday. There are a variety of ways to insert extra information into a sentence. What I'm talking about with parentheses is just another way to do it. So we use parentheses to enclose extra information and put it into the sentence. The parenthetical material might be a single word, a fragment, or multiple complete sentences. So there are a copious amount of things that you can put into the parentheses, which makes it tons of fun to write and use these. Also, whatever the material inside the parentheses is, it must not be grammatically integral. What does that mean? Basically, whatever material that goes inside the parentheses shouldn't be super important to the overall meaning of the sentence. If it is, the sentence has to be reworked. That way, you are adding the necessary info into the sentence. Again, we're going to use parentheses in our sentences to add extra info that isn't necessary to the sentence. And just as a little visual again, these are parentheses right here. Now, let's see how parentheses and periods get along. First thing, with periods and parentheses, if a sentence ends with a parenthetical, that means the two parentheses and the information in it. So if a sentence ends with a parenthetical that is only part of a larger sentence, the period is placed outside the closing parentheses. So basically what this is saying is if you have parenthetical content or parentheses at the end of your sentence, but the content in that parentheses isn't a complete idea, we're going to put the period outside of the parentheses at the end to keep it all together. Let me show you what I mean. Here's an example. Hotel rooms are likely to be in short supply throughout August. Parentheses, the peak travel period. End of parentheses, and then here's our period. You might be asking yourselves, well, with quotation marks, if that ends a sentence, then we have to put the period inside. No! Here's the thing. Hotel rooms are likely to be in short supply throughout August. That is the main message of this sentence. Right after this, we added the extra information, the peak travel period, to give more information about what's going on in August. However, this information isn't necessary, so that's why we put it in parentheses. And since the peak travel period isn't a complete sentence, we have to put the period outside of the parentheses at the very end. So it is all together in a thought. It's not like this is hanging out in cyberspace. So this period at the end puts the parentheses and everything else into the sentence as a whole. Keep in mind, the material in the parentheses is not necessary information. It's extra information. And since it is not a complete sentence, we need to put the period outside of the parentheses if the parentheses end the sentence. Let me show you another example. Her cat is out of control. The total antithesis of timid. In this, we have the complete sentence, her cat is out of control. Then we have the parentheses, the total antithesis of timid. That's the info in the parentheses, that extra info. And since the total antithesis of timid is not a complete thought, then we're going to have to put our period outside of the parentheses to keep it all together. As a reminder, if you are ending your sentence with parentheticals, and the content in the parenthetical is not, get ready for this, not a complete thought, a complete sentence, then you're going to put the period outside. I know it sounds very specific and tedious, like why would I have to remember it? But it's quite easy. Just start hammering it into your head, and you do that via practice. Alrighty. Now, you might be asking yourself, but what happens if I have a complete sentence within the parentheses? I wanted to add a complete sentence or complete sentences into the parentheses for extra info. Where do I put the period then? I'll answer that for you. If the parenthetical is itself an entire sentence, so the content in the parentheses is an entire sentence, the period is placed inside the closing parentheses. Inside. So, if our information within the parentheses is an incomplete idea, then boom, we put the period behind the parentheses. However, if the information inside the parentheses is a complete sentence, or complete sentences, we're going to put the period inside the parentheses. Let me show you. Their house was the largest one on the block. It also happened to be the ugliest. And you notice that our period is right here, inside of the parentheses. You'll also notice there's a period here. So in a way, I'm kind of treating it like two complete sentences. This, since the information is unnecessary to the overall meaning of this, then we could put that complete sentence into parentheses to indicate that, and then put the period within. So inside the parentheses at the end of the sentence. Only if, boom, 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 this is a complete sentence inside the parentheses. I know, again, it seems very, what? Like, why do I have to know this? This completely helps out when it comes to your writing, especially if you're writing emails and you want to add a little bit of extra unnecessary information to comment on whatever regular information. You want to know how to punctuate it. All right, let's look at this. I was surprised that he showed up on time. He is always late. In this case, what I did is I have my complete sentence here. I was surprised that he showed up on time. I could put a period there. Parentheses, he is always late. Ugh. Period, and then end parentheses. Why are we putting this period inside the parentheses? Oh yeah, it's because he is always late is a complete sentence. Therefore, if we have a complete sentence in the parentheses, we have to go ahead and put our period inside there as well. And we know that the information inside the parentheses is not necessary because we put it in parentheses. Alrighty. Pretty cool. But guess what? It's time to practice. Here's what I want you to do. In the comments, write an original sentence that uses parentheses. Whether or not you want to put a complete idea in the parentheses or an incomplete idea is completely up to you. However, pay special attention to where the period is placed. If the information with it inside the parentheses is an incomplete thought, you're going to put the period outside. However, if the information within the parentheses is a complete thought, complete sentence, then you're going to put the period inside the parentheses. That's the big difference between them. Complete and incomplete determines, guess what? Where that period goes. Where does it stop? Take a second and do that in the comments section. You have to participate, right? You have to practice. And while you do that, I'm going to go ahead and grab hydration. Woo! Oh yeah! Woo! Kool-Aid Man isn't even that refreshing. Oh, I'm feeling hydrated and ready to go. So, hopefully your amazing sentences are in the comments section. Here's another thing that I want to talk about. Tonight, we're really discussing how periods interact with other punctuation marks. We just discussed how periods interact with parentheses. Now I want to talk all about how periods interact with quotation marks. Whoa! And if you're really wanting to get into it, make sure to check out Whoa Wednesday 26, where I talk about commas and quotation marks. Here we go. When it comes to quotation marks, if a sentence ends with quoted material, the period is placed inside the quotation marks, even if the period is not part of the original quotation. You need to end it. Basically, what this is saying is, If you have a direct quote that ends the sentence, you need to put the period inside the quotation marks. Okay, let's take a look at a couple of examples. The president's speech both began and ended with the word freedom. Here, we have our sentence and it ends with the quoted material freedom, because that's what the president was saying. Therefore, since we are ending the sentence with quoted material, these two little quotation marks right there, we're going to put the period inside the quotation mark. Inside the quotation mark. If a direct quote ends a sentence. Let's look at another example. Jen had some wonderful information. The Loch Ness Monster enjoys Monster Energy drinks. Whoa! Who would have thought that the Loch Ness Monster was going to be hyped up on Monster Energy drinks? Yeah! You'll notice in this that the quotation at the end of the sentence is basically telling us what Jen's wonderful information is. In this case, it's that the Loch Ness Monster enjoys Monster Energy drinks. And it ends with that quotation mark there. So if you have a direct quote that is ending the sentence, then we're putting the period inside. Where was that, Grammar Goodies? Where are we putting the period? That's right, we're putting it inside the quotation marks. Sweet, right? But hold up a second. If the quoted material itself ends with a question mark or an exclamation point, the period is omitted. That means we get rid of the period. And we put the exclamation point or the question mark within the quotes. Let me show you. Let's say that we have this. Yesterday he asked, "Why is it so cold on Mars?" This is a question asked, and here's the direct quote. Why is it cold on Mars? You'll notice that the question / direct quote ends in a question mark. We're not going to go ahead and do this down here where we put a period directly after to keep it all together. The question mark by itself can end a sentence. So why would you do double duty, right? You don't want to have too many cooks in the kitchen. So if it ends with either an exclamation point or a question mark, don't put a period with it. It's fine all on its own, because a question mark or an exclamation point can, guess what? End a sentence. Cool! Let's look at this. I quickly shifted the car into reverse, and my brother yelled, "Stop! You're about to run over my toes!" In this example, you'll notice, one, it ends in a direct quote. "Stop, you're about to run over my toes." And it ends, boop, with an exclamation point. Since we're ending the sentence with a direct quote, we're not going to change this exclamation point right here to a period, or put a period out here, because the exclamation point is, boom, an ending punctuation mark. It can indicate, yo, thought's done, right here. So we wouldn't change it with the period. Okay. Pretty straightforward, right? Just really start memorizing these rules. And as you practice them more and more, it becomes second nature. So, time to practice. In the comments section, write an original sentence where a direct quote ends a sentence. Take any direct quote, whether you're pulling it from Google or from your own mind. Make sure that it ends the sentence because you want to test your knowledge about periods or other punctuation marks by practicing them in sentences. And the end punctuation mark may vary based off the structure and the quote. As a recap, in the comments, write an original sentence where a direct quote ends the sentence, and your punctuation may vary. If the quote, for example, is a question, it's going to end in a question mark. So take a second and go ahead and put that into the comment section. I want to know what you're up to if you're getting this down. And if you have questions as we go along, put that into the comments as well, so I can go ahead and help you out. Okay. You got a lot of practice down. I'm proud of you. Now, though, it's time that I ask for some employee assistance.
We need some employee assistance.
For this week's employee assistance, I'm going to be giving you different sentences. But what am I supposed to do with these sentences, Mr. Goody Grammar? I'm so happy you asked. What you'll be doing with each sentence that I give you is you're going to read it and determine where you should add a period or other punctuation marks. So, a sentence will come up on the screen. You'll read the sentence and determine if it needs any punctuation marks. Specifically, pay attention to where periods could be used. Because that was our focus tonight, right? Periods. And how we use them with parentheses and quotation marks. Are you ready, grammar goodies? I'm about to give you some sentences, and I want you to punctuate them. Let's do it! Punctuate this sentence. You cannot even function, Mac Attack said, without your stuffed llama. You can pause for a second if you want to and read this even more in depth. You cannot even function, Mac Attack said, without your stuffed llama. Where am I putting all the punctuation marks? How many? Let's look. Okay, I guess I'll give you the answer. It looks like this. You cannot even function, Mac Attack said, without your stuffed llama. I know. I can't. In this, you'll notice that a direct quote is ending the sentence without your stuffed llama. Our quotation marks there. We know that if a direct quote ends the sentence, we have to go ahead and put a period inside the quotation marks. What was that, grammar goodies? If a sentence ends with a direct quote, where do we put the period? That's right, inside the quotation marks. Woo! Hopefully you got this one down, because we're going to the next one. Punctuate this sentence. Tory, with vigor and determination, fought for Native Americans and indigenous peoples' rights. Get it, Tory! Where would I punctuate this sentence? Where would I add punctuation here? Keep in mind, I might be testing you on some other concepts we've gone over in our Wednesday episodes. So if you have to look back, make sure to do so, especially when it comes to using commas for extra info. What can we do? What can we do? I know what I can do. Give you the answer. Here it is. Tory, comma, with vigor and determination, comma, fought for Native Americans and indigenous peoples' rights. Period. First off, let me explain the double commas. We use these commas right here to insert extra information into the sentence. Pretty similar to how we use parentheses. And we ended our sentence with a period. Because it's a complete thought. It's a complete sentence. And it's just making a statement. So we can end it, boom, with that period. That one's pretty easy, right? Awesome. Question 3. Oh, it just spit everywhere. Definitely know I'm hydrated now. Punctuate this sentence. Kit looked at me and said, "You should learn the science behind a mint plant." Let me read that one more time while you attempt to punctuate this post. Kit looked at me and said, "You should learn the science behind a mint plant." Where would I punctuate this? Help me out. Come on, grammar goodies. Help me out by punctuating this post. Where am I putting different punctuation marks? Commas, semicolons, parentheses, periods? Let me know. Okay, while you're writing now, I'll give you the answer though. Kit looked at me and said, comma, "You should learn the science behind a mint plant." Kit sounds nothing like that, but you get it. Period there. You'll notice that we have a comma here to set off our quote. You should learn the science behind a mint plant. We can see that a direct quote is ending the sentence. But where do we put the period when a direct quote ends a sentence? Oh yeah, we put it inside the quotation marks. Keep it all together. Okay, let's go to question 4. Punctuate this sentence. Evan cannot stand his rival, an angry man from Georgia. Punctuate it, and I'll read it one more time for you. Evan cannot stand his rival, an angry man from Georgia. How would you punctuate it? And look, I'm seeing some parentheses. Pool your knowledge. Pool. And if you need to go back and check the concepts that we've covered already in this episode, make sure to rewind and pause to check it out. Okay, where are we going to punctuate this, y'all? Right here. Evan cannot stand his rival. Parentheses. An angry man from Georgia. Parentheses. Period. But, Mr. Goody Grammar, why are we putting the period outside of the parentheses at the end? Great question that I want you to answer in the comment section. Why do we put our period here instead of in here? Think about it and let me know in the comment section. And while you do that, I'm going to take 5 seconds to do this. Great! Here's the answer. We put the period outside of the parentheses here because 1, the parentheses are ending the sentence, and 2, the information inside the parentheses is incomplete. It's not a complete sentence. So we're going to put the period outside of the parentheses to keep it all together. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And our final employee assistance question of this evening is, Alex and Zach explored the Underdark. They were lost inside its dark and insidious depths. Punctuate this post. What can we do here? Where would you add punctuation? Let me know in the comments section. Give it a second. And I'll go ahead and give you the answer. Pause if you want. Here it is. Alex and Zach explored the Underdark, which is from Dungeons and Dragons, full of evil mysteries. And then we have in parentheses to add extra and unnecessary information. They were lost inside its dark and insidious depths. This is extra information that doesn't affect the main idea of the sentence. However, since this is a complete sentence within the parentheses, we're going to put the period inside, right here. You can even put a period there. It's completely up to you. Sweet! Alrighty. You did pretty good on that. How do you think you did? Go ahead and put your reaction into the comments section. Let me know, what part of this did you struggle with? What parts of this did you find easy? Because I'm about to put you to the test. That's right. Let's see what you learned with a little IELTS check. For this week's IELTS check, here's what you're going to do. Please write 2 original sentences. One of the sentences should use a period and parentheses. And the second one uses a period and a direct quote. So 2 sentences, one with a period and parentheses, and the second one with a period and a direct quote. Let's see if you can really get the placement of the period down when it comes to these other types of punctuation marks. Also, the funniest sentences get shout-outs in upcoming episodes. So make it absolutely beautiful. That's your IELTS check for the week. Amazing, right? So get to it and participate in the comments section. Right now on Facebook or later on YouTube. Sorry, 1 second, grammar goodies. Why am I sad? Because it's time to check out.
Can't get enough general grammar? Make sure to sign up on www.mrgoodiegrammar.com to become a grammar goodie. There, you'll receive extended episodes, guided notes, worksheets, PowerPoints, quizzes, and so much more. Also, follow us doing Wednesday live streams on Facebook, random dances on TikTok, and handing out grammar challenges on Instagram. With all these resources, you can't help but have the best time learning about English grammar. Whoa!
Here's what we got. Before we go, let me go ahead and remind you about some things. Upcoming, we have the Word of the Week every Sunday. If you're not watching it, you're missing out. Boost up your vocab with the Word of the Week every Sunday. Live sessions every Wednesday, which are known as Wednesdays. And content episodes come out regularly. So try those out. Sentence shoutouts regularly as well. However, you can't get a shout out if you don't participate in the comment section. So get to it. Finally, what do you want me to teach you? Let me know. I want to create videos and have my Wednesdays about things that you want to learn. Talk to me. Let me know. Quick reminder, You can follow us on all our social media platforms, including TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and www.mrgoodiegrammar.com, where you can sign up for exclusive content, including extended episodes, extended notes, video quizzes, a podcast, and so much more. So make sure to go to www.mrgoodiegrammar.com to learn all about it. Cool. That's it for this evening. I'm sad. Regardless, my name is Mr. Goodie Grammar. Thank you so much for spending another Wednesday with me. And comma in anytime. I'll see ya.